Hello. What I'll be showing now is how we can create a visitor's registration logbook. So one major change that I did here that is different from the author's requirement was these two columns here, check in date time and check out date time, because initially the author have made it a short text column, but we will keep it as a date time. So as you can see in here, column settings, it's all in date time. And if you're having trouble with the time zone, what you can do is you can go to the settings here, go to the site information, and there you can have view all site settings. And then in here, this is where you can find the regional settings. So regional setting is the one where you decide the time zone of your SharePoint list, like the whole SharePoint site. So if you live in a different time zone, then you can just choose here. So both Power Apps and SharePoint, they operate based on the UTC. So you are assured that it's actually encoding the right time. So I'll just leave it here. You need to choose your time zone. So your SharePoint list will display the right time in here. So next would be the Power Apps. So let's go to the Power Apps. I've started a bit with this. I have two screens created. One is registration and one is sign out. So sign out I will do later. We'll just do registration first and see how it goes. So I just added the form. Let's try doing it again. So I have this button here, and then we can call that button like submit. And then we'll have in here are the form. So let's have a form in here. So an edit form. And then before I started this video, I already added the visitor entry list. So we can just click here and then add the visitor entry list as based on the design requirement. We'll be using one, and we'll try eliminating all the extra columns by going through here. Remove that. Just ignore the internal visitor column because I have some plans for it later. And then we just need the check-in time for this one. So let's see now. So we have all this ready. We can just advance in here. So for this one, I want to edit the title to match the author's requirement, visitor name, and then let's just push the title right here, visitor name. So we have the visitor name there. As for the check-in time, we're gonna set it by default. So properties, then check-in time. Let's click on the data card, and then you see the default is here. Default is that check-in time. So what you can do is you just do type here now. So it will immediately get the now value. So now how about for the update, what we're gonna do? We can also get it as now. Sorry about that. There's this item that check-in time. So keep it that way, and then the update one is now. So you don't need to make any changes on this. So what you have to do for this part here, you just have to do this now on the update. So you don't have to do anything here. Just put now in there. And that's it. Then next is we have to hide this one. So it will be like that. So now you see this is still data card. for time, but it's no longer displayed because it's already hidden. So we have it here. And then next would be this one. Click here, submit form, and then the name of our form. This form number 2, form 2, and then submit. So let's just do a quick test for this. But I also need to put the visitor name. So let's go back here. We have a simple list in here, and then we can add the name. Say John Smith. And then we'll just have the name of the visitor there. Then we go back to Power Apps. We refresh this. And then we have, see, okay, it's still not showing. Let's do one more refresh. Oh, we're refreshing the wrong table. Okay, so we see John Smith over there. So now let's try doing a registration. So it says no item is displayed because we're doing it wrong. What we have to do is we have to make this form a new form, new mode. So this means it's gonna accept new entry for this data source. So let's say we have John Smith there. So what I assume is that when you select something here, it should appear in the visitor name. So what we can do is, like, you see this here, this is called the control name. So I can just go here, and then you see there's a default there. We can do that one, data, and then we just put selected that value. So you see, you don't need to enter anything. So like if you want to add some more names in here, let's say Anna. So when you do that, if you go back to the Power Apps and then refresh this data, we'll have Anna in here. So, and then as you can see, it automatically changed. Then we can put here, let's say Tesla Corp. And so let's try adding the information. We click submit. So now it's submitted, and then let's see if the data is reflecting in our list. So now it's shown. So right now it's 9:38, so it's just a few seconds after. So it's showing 9:37 here. So this is the check-in time. And just in case, I will show, maybe I'll share later how you can format this to UK time, like UK format, but just leave it as it is. So now we have all the information. So what we need now is we need a checkout time. So how to add the checkout time here? We go to the next screen here, and then we have sign out form. And then what you'll have to do is you click in here. We just, because I wanted to copy the size of this form. So we have a form, it is for 800 420. So let's go to the next one here. We insert a form. We edit form again. But this time, let's just, I know this is how you're doing it, but let's try it differently. Because initially I want to add a form and follow your format, but that should not be the case since you only have a one data in there. So we don't really need this sign out form. So let's try to do a drop down. Insert a drop down. So instead of adding a full form, we just have one drop down. So usually I keep asking you what's the control name. So the control name is this name here. So the control name of this is drop down one. So we can change it to different things. So what we want here is you want to get the visitors' names to ensure that we are logging them out. So instead of listing the names in here, it's better that you list the names from this list. The reason is because we have, or this means like this list means these are people who are the inside the location where you put this registration up. But another way, let's just stick with your way first. So you want to list out the names. So what we can do to list out your names, go back to the registration. So you see this code here. We just copy this one. Choices. So if you cannot click this one, cannot click, just go to advanced or here. You see there's a padlock. Click that one. Okay, still not unlocked. So just click that one so it's now unlocked. So you can copy the code. And then we go to our sign out form. Here. This is the items. Then this is where you replace it. Okay, so be careful because sometimes you get directed immediately to something like content languages. So if you put it there, it's not gonna work. It's gonna be an error. So you need to find the item property. So it's the same as the one on this side. Whatever you find in here, you can actually find it in here. But it's not arranged alphabetically, so it's sometimes difficult to find when you're first using it. So actually it's here. So, and also don't forget the value because if you do ID, it's just gonna show number. So keep it as value. So now we have the list and then let's add a button here. Then sign out. Oh, sorry. Don't put it there. Put it in here. Sign out. So we're signing out whoever is in the form. So as what I've suggested before, we will use a patch for this patch, and then we gonna first put the name of our list, which is visitor entry list, and then we need to define the record that we want to patch. So actually this code will actually work in just visitor entry list where the visitor name. Okay, so as you can see, we have here visitor name is a lookup, but we also have the title in here, so it's up to us whether we want to check it via this here or this one. So I'll give you two codes. If we use the title, so we can just use title equals to. So now, next is this part. We need to know the name of this one. This is called drop down one. So drop down one, that's selected on drop down one, that's selected that value. So we got it already there. And then um we just need that. And then also we need to ensure that they have a blank checkout time. Checkout date time. And once we've got the checkout date time, mm, we close that and then we will update the checkout date time, and then we just put now. And then we close this one. And then let's see where's the error coming from. Mm. So when the error is showing, okay, I know now why my previous submission was wrong. So because lookup only accepts one parameter and I'm using this here and this counts as two. So instead of lookup, let's use filter and then let's use first. So if there's ever a double entry, let's use last. So if there's ever a double entry with the record, then we'll have this one as our basis. I mean, like it's gonna get the last record because let's say Anna got two entries, it's gonna update the one with with the last record. I hope I make sense now. Okay, so this one just ignore this because this is just a delegation issue, especially with checking dates. But for now, since your data is small, this shouldn't be the case. This only is a problem if, like, let's say you have more than 5,000, 5,000, like more than 1,000 data. But I would do some recommendations later. Let's just see if this one works. So if I do this one, and then let's say I do John Smith. So when I do that, if I refresh, nothing happens because John Smith is not in here. Let's try Anna and then see what happens. See, it's updating the record. So that's how the app works. We can add another here for Anna. Mm, then company. Okay. We always have to keep it as a new form. So let's keep it new. And then in the submit here, sometimes it just doesn't work immediately. So let's have this one like new form. So add in here. Then we got it there. So new form. Let's say John Smith, then company, mm, and submit. So we submitted it. If we navigate to the other screen, so let's say I want to choose John, sign out. We're gonna have here John's sign out record. Okay, so lastly, back in here, this is one of the ways to do it because what I was mentioning earlier, we can use this one. And then another way to do it, I'll just do some comment so we can keep the code. Another way of doing it is like this. Mm, So let's say you don't want the title, you want the actual name. So instead of putting title in here, we can put here visitor name, the one that is a lookup column that you see there's ID and value. You just choose value and that's the same thing that we're gonna do. And then if we go back to the registration form, let's say we have another transmit company, Google again. I submit the one and let's refresh this page, we have transmit Google, this one, and we sign him out. So once we sign him out, it still does the same code. Also, one more thing that I was really thinking about is how you don't need to maintain another list for visitors' names. So just in case you want to do this, I will show it in a different video. So just want to finish this video first.